Hello, my name is Rafael Perez. I'm from Mr. Cho's chemistry class, and today I will be talking about how one of the effects from climate change, being sea level rise, will affect San Francisco. Without further ado, let me explain. So, you may ask, what even is climate change? Well, climate change is a long term shift in temperature and weather patterns, which could have vigorous effects such as increased heat, droughts, and much more. Many people may believe that climate change is inevitable and that it is caused naturally, or some people may even think it's fake, but that isn't the case. The main contributor of climate change are humans. Through burning fossil fuels such as coal and gas, deforestation, and other industrial activities, a gas called carbon dioxide, which is also known as CO2, is released into the atmosphere. How does the release of CO2 have anything to do with climate change? Carbon dioxide is what is known as a greenhouse gas, which, like an actual greenhouse, it traps and absorbs heat, acting almost like a blanket in the atmosphere. The carbon dioxide in our atmosphere absorbs the infrared energy from the sun and re-emits waves of radiation towards the earth, which causes warming. As seen in this graph, thousands of years ago, the CO2 concentration average was around 110 to 250 ppm, which is also known as the concentration value for CO2. This concentration was from the natural releases of CO2, such as when volcanoes erupt, organisms decompose, or when forest fires occur. Well, how does the CO2 concentration peak? After the Industrial Revolution, years after 1840, CO2 emissions started to rise. This was due to new machines and technology such as cars and factories. The use of this technology added a significant amount of CO2 and greenhouse gases such as methane, ozone, and nitrous oxide into our atmosphere. The CO2 concentration reached up to 400 ppm, which is a very concerning amount and clearly shows that us humans are responsible for this increase. What are the consequences of this increase? One of the many are sea level rise. Sea level rise is the increase of the world's ocean caused by climate change. But what does climate change have anything to do with what we call sea level rise? When ice over land melts, it adds to the volume of water in the oceans, causing the level of water to rise. The melting of sea ice does not contribute directly to the rise in its water level because the ice was already floating and displacing water. Archimedes' principle explains why. Water in the solid form, also known as ice, is less dense than water, which causes it to float. Only about 10% of the ice floats above the surface, and when ice melts, the volume of water that was displaced by the ice equals the melted ice or water. In other words, the change in volume exactly counterbalances the extra volume of the ice that was up above the water's surface. Another factor that contributes to climate change is the ocean's high heat capacity, which allows it to absorb and store a large amount of heat energy with a small increase in temperature. This unique property of water has allowed the oceans to absorb as much as 90% of the additional energy added to the climate system. But as the ocean absorbs and stores more heat energy, the volume of ocean water expands. This is also referred to as thermal expansion. Hence, thermal expansion causes an increase in sea level. Whoa, how could sea level rise affect San Francisco? Sea level rise has an array of ways that it could affect San Francisco, one being the extreme flooding that could occur. The sea level rise vulnerability zone, which is over 6% of San Francisco's land, can be flooded by the sea level rise floodings. Although 6% may seem like a small amount, more than 37,000 people, more than 170,000 jobs, roadways, bridges, parks, ports, and piers, beaches, and loved landmarks such as Fisherman Wharf, Palace of Fine Arts, Oracle Park, are at risk of being inundated by the ocean. Although San Francisco is at risk, low-income communities and minorities are disproportionately affected by the effects of climate change. Resources could be cut off with flooding. An example of this could be the Maroon Food Bank, which provides full bags of food to families in need. With the flooding that could occur, these resources could be cut off and many will suffer. What can we do to solve this issue? Things people could do are save energy at home by turning off appliances or other electronics that are not being used, as electricity is powered by the burning of gas, which all release CO2. Bike instead of driving, as this will reduce the amount of gas being burned per day and will also improve your health. If not possible, try to take Muni. switch energy sources to clean energy that comes from solar panels, wind turbines, and more. Although sea level rise and climate change are problems that are worsening rapidly, if San Francisco and other places of the world come together and put their effort to stop climate change at its roots, we can all make our planet healthy and suppress the effects of climate change.